It's not often that a breakdown of a second round game only needs to cover the first half, considering the Nets ended this matchup versus the Bucks so gosh darned early. In fact, the game was over by the end of the first quarter, and all this with the Nets' second best player on the bench. There are adjustments to be made, of course, but I've been pointing out fundamental issues with the Bucks for years, and perhaps when going up against KD at the height of his powers, it just doesn't matter. Since this is shaping up to be a KD versus Giannis series, let's examine how Durant is operating in their offense first. In the regular season, Chris Middleton guarded KD most of the time. In my preview of the series, I showed how that wasn't that effective, but this is KD, so who can stop him anyway? The adjustment Mike Budenholzer made was to insert PJ Tucker into the lineup since Donte DiVincenzo is out and put him on KD. This didn't go so well in the regular season either, and KD wastes no time crossing him twice to take advantage of his quickness and Tucker's propensity for being extra physical. Every team runs pistol action with a pin down in the ball screen, but when it's Durant, you can see how dangerous this is as Tucker is a full 2 steps behind as KD attacks middle. The Bucks have always helped one pass away to stop a drive, and this could be a wide open 3 for Kyrie if they want, or it's a little pocket pass to the rolling Brown. Middleton can't help because he's dealing with the lift from Joe Harris, and the Bucks should already be concerned. Like I had noted in the preview, whenever Giannis did pick KD up, KD seemed to absolutely relish the opportunity to go at his fellow MVP, wasting no time blowing by him like a statue for a dunk that would have ended NBA Twitter had it gone in. This time, the Nets force a switch so KD can go to work on Giannis again. And if you doubted whether KD looks forward to these possessions, the double crossover into pull-up from 16 feet plus the and one should answer that question. In transition, Middleton couldn't pick up Harris on the other side of the floor, so he has to pick up Durant, and he almost gets completely crossed if it weren't for KD just losing the ball. Incredible play by Griffin to get to the loose ball and save the possession. KD tries to back Middleton down from the perimeter, but Middleton holds his ground well, deflects the dribble, and contests this into a miss. Can I has more, please? Let's switch over to the Bucks offense and see how they were attacking. Notice how they run their pick and roll with Middleton out top, using Durant's man to screen. This is not an advantage for them when there are weaker defenders to target. Plus, they love to loop Giannis along the baseline into the path of the pick and roll, eliminating a lane for Middleton even if he could get by KD. Instead, they burp up the most inefficient shot in basketball. This time, they attack Blake in the pick and roll with Giannis being the screener, a position he finds himself in more often than not, which is hard to believe that a multi-NBA MVP winner is relegated to being a basic role player in the playoffs. Afraid of the role, Blake concedes the mid-range jumper and Drew does the rare bank shot. More role player status for Giannis as he sets a cross screen for a Middleton-Iverson cut. This puts Brown 2 steps behind as Middleton can turn the corner on the catch. Blake is in position and it's his help, not Durant's, from 1 pass away in the corner. While he does a nice job to recover, he closes out just short enough to let Lopez double pump his way to a triple. Looking to attack the massive sag that Blake is giving him, Giannis flashes middle but has no hope of getting any closer. This contest doesn't do much when taking off from 5 feet away from the shooter, but the Nets are more than happy to let him fire away from this spot. When the Bucks catch a big mismatch down low with Middleton versus Kyrie, Blake has the freedom to double, knowing KD is back there to help protect the rim. He doesn't have to worry about Giannis at all until Giannis comes to him. This should have been a shot, but he doesn't have the confidence to take it, so he backs it out and tries to isolate. This isn't any kind of move. Just bump into your man and do a Dirk leg fadeaway under some pressure. It's not even close. More Giannis issues with the Blake sag. It should be an advantage for Giannis to get going full speed on the catch with that much room, but his footwork has always been an issue. On the spin, the left foot becomes the pivot, which he drags twice before the whistle blows for a turnover. On the sideline out of bounds play, Portis sets a good screen, forcing the switch and a big mismatch down low again for the Bucks. Notice how Giannis is again the guy screening and hanging around the basket area. This makes it easier for his man to rotate over and help. Shamet bumps down to cover for Claxton, but Portis isn't a great passer, so they know he's going up with it, and Claxton takes one step over and swats it out of the air easily. I thought Middleton was going to get another shot at guarding KD, but since Kyrie hustles down the sideline, he's got to pick him up, leaving Drew to get ISO'd on, back down, no help in sight, and he simply turns around from 12 feet to knock down a practice shot. The Nets offense is a well-oiled machine with clear-cut objectives and great spacing. To attack the Giannis on Kyrie mismatch, they bring Portis over to involve him in a step-up screen. This is well contained. The defense wants to breathe a sigh of relief, but look who they swing it to. Durant on an island against Drew. I don't care how well Holiday plays defense, it's a terrible matchup for the Bucks. This is where I got frustrated. I've been pointing out the Bucks' defensive issues for years, and one of them is this, helping one pass away in an effort to stop the ball from getting to the rim at all costs. But this is Kyrie you're leaving wide open. When Middleton closes, it means that, let me check my notes. Oh yeah, Joe frickin' Harris is wide open in the corner for the three. They intentionally put Drew on KD again, so the Nets simply post him up on that right block. Do they double the ball? Of course not. And KD treats us to this gorgeous up and under for a layup, leaving Drew pissed at his teammates for not supporting him better. As the game started getting out of hand, the Nets spread the Bucks out to wind the clock down at the end of the first. There is no explanation for Drew Holiday giving KD 10 feet of space from one pass away from the ball. He's already a shorty in comparison, and KD gets a practice shot to just about double up their score. Sensing an opportunity with Kyrie and KD on the bench, Budenholzer put Lopez, Holiday, and Giannis in the game to start the second quarter. Instead of taking advantage of Blake and the bench unit, the Nets increase the lead to over 20. Giannis continues playing like a 90s power forward, setting the ball screen, which opened up a pop for Lopez. Down by a lot, needing a bucket, and the offense is relying on the dribble drive artistry of Brook Lopez. Blake deflects the ball before he can hit Giannis cutting, and he's left with a jerk leg of his own that he can't hit. Because Blake can grab boards and push the ball up, it forces mismatches a lot. This time, Lopez can't get the ball because Shamet is sprinting down the sideline. Giannis does a nice job to protect the rim here, but the closeouts fall apart. Connaughton thought Drew was there, despite Drew's terrible angle. The closeout should come from the basket area as much as possible. So no one stops the ball, and Giannis is ineffective contesting this brown floater. Here's another troubling offensive possession. The Bucks seem to understand that they want Giannis to attack Shamet in a mismatch of size. But look what Giannis does. First it was Lopez, now it's Bryn Forbes being an isolation specialist. And wouldn't you know it, he hits the off-foot layup on the way down and through contact, while Giannis stands above the three-point line watching. This possession sums up the entire Giannis experience in the playoffs. With this Nets lineup, Joe Harris has to guard Lopez, so he goes right to the front of the rim as he should. But look who breaks this up. Yes, it's Blake, who's been giving Giannis such an extreme sag that he's able to thwart a surefire 2 points from a player who's literally 25 feet away from his own man. And just in case you weren't sure why Blake is giving Giannis so much room, it's so he can cut off a drive and then lure the 17-foot jumper that won't go in very often. This possession is the perfect defensive stand for the Bucks. Lopez drops and they contain this nicely. Quick note, please avoid this posture at all costs, especially on defense, where your primary vector is backwards. Why have your weight leaning forward like this? As the ball swings back to the top, however, their other principles get in the way. As Shamet attacks in the catch to the middle, watch what Connaughton does. Despite Giannis being in position, he helps one pass away anyway. This is the primary reason why they give up more open threes than anybody in the league, and this year it's come back to haunt them bigly. One way to combat the sag is to set an inside ball screen for a good scorer, and that's where Drew Holiday comes in. Had the Nets iced this and forced Holiday to the baseline, they would have been in better shape. Instead, Blake has to be worried about the only thing Giannis scares them with, the roll, and that opens the lane for the layup. But instead of running that inside ball screen to death, they do stuff like this. Multi-dribble ISO post-ups against a very strong player who won't give an inch once he gets into the paint. Now, I've seen Giannis make this turnaround jumper before, but again, the Nets should be rejoicing with this shot, and their very real fear of being out-rebounded on the offensive glass has not come to reality, as the Nets have outscored the Bucks by 19 three-pointers in the two games, and turned it over 14 times less. So they try it again, and the Giannis spin move has become so predictable that teams have gotten very good at jumping him with a second defender. Brown almost gets the steal, but is so good he can recover back to the three-point line and contest this miss, and it's my favorite possession of the night. With special kudos to Blake Austin Griffin, whose energy has been infectious, but has also treated us to some truly throwback dunks that have been exhilarating to watch and no doubt uplifting to his team's fortunes, as the Nets take what can only be considered a commanding 2-0 lead heading to Milwaukee. I just don't see what the Bucks can do other than get Middleton on Durant and change their whole 3-year defensive philosophy overnight. I know people want to point to their offense being the culprit, but with a guy as limited as Giannis, their hands are a little tied to his fortunes. Perhaps if he gets hot on these wide open threes, they can get some momentum. But I'd already start gearing up for an Eastern Conference Finals featuring the Brooklyn Nets.